Is it bad, Modern Skeptic, that my hopes of Warcry is dropped? Okay, so you want... Is it bad that your hopes that Warcry is dropped by Games Workshop so it turns into a community project? I think I've spoken about this, right? Or have I spoken about it? I can't remember. Probably. Possibly I've spoken about everything. There are ups and downs to Warcry becoming community run. On the one hand, it's community run. So it can be a lot more agile to people who... No, it can be a lot more agile to like problems in game, right? So we wouldn't have to necessarily wait every 6 months for a balance update to hit. There could be community balance updates way more quickly. And we kind of, but not really, see this in the kill team space, where I think it's like Sanctifiers, right? Sanctifiers have come out, and basically they're busted, is what everybody is saying. I haven't played with them. I've seen a few games with them. People are saying they're busted, so events are basically banning them, or looking to ban them, or something similar. So with a community run project, you basically won't have that issue, because you could say, all right, if something's busted, we're going to fix it, and we're going to do it very quickly, because you can say, all right, every 3 months or something, we're going to do a big old balance patch, and you can just do it, right? And that's kind of the way it is. And so that's definitely a positive to a community run game, if Warcry was run like that. And then on top of that, like whatever people decided to run it, they could come up with new warbands, new ideas, new things like that. But what they wouldn't be able to come up with is new product specifically. So anything that they produced would have to basically be either existing stuff, or them saying, okay, yeah, there's no actual models for this, so this is going to be your conversion project, and this is something you've got to do. So that's one thing. The second thing with it becoming community run is that everyone has to be on board. And the problem that Warcry has at the moment is that even with the official rule set, not everybody is on board. You got people who are still running like 1.0 cards with the start of 2.0 rules, and like they're not using any updates, they're not using any erratas or anything like that, right? And that's when like Games Workshop is in command of this, like in command of Warcry today, and you have people playing like that. So convincing people to move into a community rule set where not everybody's on board in the first place, I think only serves to fracture the community. It'll basically turn into a, here's what's happening at events, assuming all the TOs are on board with this, by the way, and then here's how everybody else plays. Which becomes a nightmare, an absolute nightmare for pickup games. You can't just go somewhere and go, okay, yeah, we're going to play Warcry today, and then you turn up with your warband, and it might be like 3 editions of community rules out of date. And then you just go there, and your opponent's like, wow, we're using this rule set. And you're like, I've never heard of this rule set. What's that about? You know, so that's kind of the main problem. Whereas if you have a company like Games Workshop behind it, at least you can go, well, these are the most official rules. They're here on the website. And if you do have something you do have for Games Workshop, is that everyone basically has to get on board. If you want to play in like events and whatever, you're going to be using the most up-to-date rules. I think that's basically the biggest hurdle that a community-led enterprise would have. I think getting new players into the game, because if you have a game that's detached from Games Workshop, you basically don't have all of the, what is it called? Advertising. You don't have just the passive advertising that Games Workshop gives you. Even if Games Workshop aren't making the game anymore, or they are actively supporting the game, let's say, the mere fact that it's a product on their website and there's a Warhammer community page on it and there's articles you can go back and watch, etc., that's huge for a game. And my biggest worry by it going into community territory is that it'll just like kind of fizzle out and die. And it has been done. Of course it's been done. Blood Bowl was basically done as a community project for a long time, and they managed to keep it alive. And Games Workshop picked it up again, and it's alive again, and they're going. But I don't think that Warcry has that same like critical mass of players to want to keep doing it. Like personally, okay, and I live and breathe Warcry as it is, right? The only time I get to play Warcry is at events, The only real events that I get to go to are Games Workshop run events up at Nottingham, because they do one once every 3 months, right? Or 2 months, 3 months, whatever. Yeah, we got Demetrios, who's doing fantastic work with UK Games Expo, and he's doing stuff with Tabletop Scotland and all sorts of things. But I would probably stop playing the game if it was dropped by Games Workshop and went into community only, because I wouldn't have that space to play, because the events is basically where I play, if you get me.